I'm an American photographer, born in New York, Brooklyn, New York, many, many years ago. And I've been living in France for many years also. I was never interested in photography when I was growing up. I fell into it, actually, when I dropped out of university at some point, and I went back to New York. I was looking for a job, and a friend recommended a French fashion photographer who needed an assistant. Now, why that French fashion photographer would hire me, I don't really know, but I went to see him and he did. And so I began to work for him, not knowing what I was doing, loading his cameras, setting up his studio, cleaning his toilets, and little by little I actually learned something about photography. But not fashion photography. I mean, I did learn a lot about fashion photography, but I wasn't going to be a fashion photographer. But he did let me use his cameras. And I would go out in the street and start looking around and just snapping pictures here and there. And I kind of got bitten by the bug a little bit. After a long time, about a year, I decided to leave and use my savings that I had earned with him, even though he didn't pay me very well. And I came to Europe, and just to visit Europe. I brought a camera with me that my boss, Jerome Ducrot, had given me. And I almost didn't take it because I didn't have room in my bag, but I managed to squeeze it in. And I spent the next 10 months traveling around Europe and a little bit in Morocco also. And at the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. I would walk around and take the camera with me sometimes and see things and see interesting things and take a few pictures. And little by little, I was taking more and more pictures, and I was really getting into it. And by the end of the trip, I knew that I was a photographer. So I went back to New York, and I worked in a darkroom. I developed my film, which I hadn't developed in all the time I was in Europe. And I started to see what I was really interested in by going through my contact sheets. So I kind of, by going through the contact sheets and choosing the pictures, I decided what I thought were the good pictures, and I saw that there was actually a thread that went through them. And it was something that came out of me. It was me coming out through the pictures, which I didn't realize I was doing, and I didn't have the intention of doing. And I've been on the same thread for the last 60 years. I still do basically the same thing. I'm still interested in the same thing. And I'm continuing now. What the thread is seeing things, not so much what they are, but what they look like. Seeing the impression that you get from looking at something. So all my pictures are unposed. Almost all my pictures are uncropped. They live in little rectangles. They tell stories, I think. And the relationship between what was actually going on and what you think is going on is somewhat questionable. That's just the way I like it. And that means that if I tell you too much about the pictures, you're not going to look at them anymore. So I'll tell you a few things, but not everything. I took these two pictures when I came back to the U.S. After my trip to Europe. So they're pretty early. The guy on the Brooklyn Bridge, a man in the Central Park. So I would just be walking around, seeing. I was actually on the Brooklyn Bridge because someone asked me to do a commercial picture of ships in the harbor, and I went on the bridge and you couldn't see any ships in the harbor, and I was just sitting there early one morning, very early, and this guy came up, and I won't give you all the details, but he started doing things, and at first I thought it was kind of annoying, and then I said, well, wait a minute, I'm a photographer. So I followed him, and I took pictures, and That's what happened with this one. And this was just the guy who's taking care of the things in Central Park, getting off the merry-go-round. More recent pictures, two sets of animals in my life, a couple of dogs that I ran across, and a couple of children that I ran across who in fact are my children. That was in Halloween on the beach in Biarritz in France. I've always been interested in people who seem to be spying on other people. In a way, that's what I do. I spy on other people, and here we have a couple of spies also. The way people look at each other or look at the world is very interesting too. Sometimes they're looking at you with their eyes closed, and sometimes they're looking at you with their eyes wide open. That's what we have here. Public gardens are often interesting places, and bushes in particular. I recommend them for everyone. Things go on that are seen or unseen, and good place to go. I often go there. In 1978, I got an assignment from Newsweek to photograph in Rome after Pope Paul VI died. I had never been to Italy. It was amazing when I came. I came in early August. The Newsweek office was on the Piazza di Spagna. I came in a taxi at 8 in the evenings. The late afternoon light, fantastic. I fell in love with Rome immediately. And over the next few years, I came back to Rome many times. This is one picture that I took in front of the Pantheon. I've always been interested in flying people. So whenever I can, I try to photograph them. Here's one, and here's one. One of the interesting and I would say wonderful things about photography is that once the picture's taken, the people don't move anymore. They're stuck in that moment for all of time, or as long as the photograph lasts. At first view, you think that this is a picture of people having a good time, but the fact that they're locked into this situation and they can't move becomes maybe horrible. I remember when I took this picture, I was thinking about the woman in the center, and I blew up the picture and I started showing it around to people, and I said, "Is this woman laughing or crying?" Most people said that she was crying, and maybe she was inside. I see people everywhere. Generally they're people, sometimes they're dogs, sometimes they're bears, sometimes they're rocks, and sometimes they're just streams of water running along the beach, like here.